Welcome to the Painting Coach, and today I'm going to show you how to quickly take the new Chaos Warriors from bare plastic to a nice tabletop standard using contrast style paints, and then I'm going to show you how to upgrade them to Tabletop Plus with a few simple highlights. A huge thank you to Games Workshop for sending me these models out. Let's get painting. The first thing you're going to need to do is prime your miniatures. Now you're going to need to prime them in a light colour for this, so I've gone for Wraithbone, which is nice and bright. Now, generally, when you are painting with contrast paints, it is worth going from light to dark. So I'm going to start off with all the bone colours, and I'm going to use some bone brown from AK's Quick Gen. Now, you can use any brown. You can use Bony Matter from Army Painter. You can use Skeleton Horde from Citadel. Use whichever one you've got. It's really personal choice for this one. I'm going to use a really wide selection of paints throughout this process. So just choose whichever works best for you. Remember, when applying contrast style paints, you want to keep that paint moving. You don't want to let it pool too heavily in one place. Otherwise, it's going to look blotchy, and it just makes it a little bit harder to fix later on. I'm going to move on to kind of the browns and the main body of the clothing next. And I've got, like I said, I've got so many paints. I've got far too many paints. So again, use whichever paints appeal to you and which ones you like to use. So I'm using some Army Painter ones on the leather. I'm going to use some Citadel ones across it. I'm going to mix them together, maybe across the miniatures. It's really one of those things that it's down to personal choice. Now, you may have already guessed, this isn't so much a tutorial video in the traditional style like I normally do them on the channel. This is more of a workflow and a process style video. And the whole point of this is to help you figure things out as you work through it. Because I always get lots of questions on my videos. What about this? What about that? And actually, there is no substitute for trying. There is no substitute for experimenting and learning yourself. Because whilst I can give you normal color recipes like I would for painting something a little bit like box art, nothing can replace going in and actually taking the time to learn how the paints that you've got react and how they apply to the miniatures. So this, like I said, is very much about workflow. Just take your time when you're adding them on. And whilst contrast paints are fast, try not to spill them everywhere, because that just makes the next few steps harder. And what I really like about painting this way as well is you can really see the miniatures come into life. You can really start to see those colors starting to block out and become really quite vibrant on them. Now, I'm painting 3 Chaos Warriors here. I think there's something like 60 maybe in the box. It's an absolutely insane amount in the reinforcement box that I was sent. There are so many of them. So you want to get them up to some sort of colored standard to get them on the tabletop. This is the way to do it. And the other thing I've already mentioned about experimenting with the colors yourself. As I'm working through these colors here, I'm actually experimenting as well, because some of these colors I haven't used before. I just like the look of them. So as I'm working through, I'm understanding and I'm learning as I'm making this video. So it's not just me saying to you, hey, go and experiment. This is me experimenting as well. This is me showing my workflow, showing my process to get to the places that I want to get to. Now, one thing I did kind of realize as I was working my way through these is that I was starting to get into the realms of very colorful miniatures. And what I mean by that is they were starting to look a little bit bright. Now, for the theme, for these Chaos Warriors, they probably need to be a little more muted. So we'll fix some of that with highlights later on. But it was just something that as I was working through this, I kind of realized that, oh, okay, maybe we're going a little bit too bright for some of these miniatures. The other thing as well, when you use contrast paints, they all work very differently. Now, if you look at the AK Quick Gen, for example, you've got lots of different ratings on them. So some of them are quite opaque. Some of them are not very opaque at all. It's good that they've got this because you can kind of tell how they might react. For the Army Painter speed paints and for the Citadel contrast paints, they don't have that. So you've got to learn that through the experience of actually using the paints. In general, I feel the Citadel paints are much brighter and much more vibrant than any of the other ones. And I guess that probably is a little bit by design. And that's why I'm not using them as much on these miniatures as perhaps I'm using the Quick Gen and the speed paints. I wanted to put a nice bright red cloak on the leader. This just kind of affirmed my previous thought about I'm going too bright. So I'd need to figure out a way to kind of reduce this color, because really somebody who lives in the Chaos Waste, he might have a red cloak, but it's probably gonna be quite faded and jaded. So we'll have to fix that when we come to it. And just on this color, Flesh Terror's red is such a good color for cloth and for material. And that's the other thing that it's worth really saying and emphasizing here. I wouldn't use these paints across nice big smooth armor panels. I No, some painters have great success with this, but for me, they don't give me what I want. They don't give me nice, smooth layers that I can work up from. They tend to pool quite heavily. But when it comes to things that are textured, so for fabric, for hair, for fur, for wood, they are brilliant for these things and get you a really nice base really quickly. And sometimes that's just good enough as well. And like I said, because these paints are so good for fur, you might be able to get away with just the one layer. Now, it depends on how they work and how deep those shadows are. You may need a little bit of a highlight just to boost the contrast a little bit, but it just flows into the recesses so nicely. Again, the key here is just being careful with how you use the paint and making sure that you are not too aggressive in terms um, of how you apply it so it spills everywhere. Like I said as well, they are perfect for things like wood. So for shields, banner poles, using the contrast paints is fantastic because you can literally get it done in one hit. You can go back in and highlight it. I'm going to show you how to do that. The other things contrast paints are really, really good for as well is actually painting some of this leathery skin that the Chaos Warriors have got as cloaks, because even though they're larger, flatter areas, they have got a lot of texture in them. So because of that, the contrast paints work really well. The only thing to be mindful of is how they dry. So once you put that first layer down, don't be afraid to go back in with your brush and just tidy it up a little bit before it dries, because that then will give you the chance to stop that heavy pooling. And what you'll get is you'll get a fairly uniform look across the miniature, and that should then make it a lot easier to go in and highlight it up later on. The one place I'm not going to use contrast paints is on the metallics. Now, you can get metallic contrast paints. Army Painter do some, AK do some, but I'm not a massive fan. I prefer to use normal metallic paints. Now, if you prefer the metallic contrast paints, that's absolutely fine. But for me, I'm not a massive fan. I've not had great success with them. Maybe I'm not using them right. I don't know. But I'm really happy to stick with just the normal paints for this. As usual, it's dark aluminium for all the silver. And then I'm using Balthazar Gold for all of the brass areas. Now, this is going to give you a fairly even coat across them all. Because these areas are fairly flat in terms of metallic color, I'm just going to give them a wash with Nuln Oil. Now, this is the only time I'm going to use a wash this way on the models, but washes are also a really great way. Once the paint is dry, going in and adding a little bit more color to them. Now, I'm thinking things like Athonian camo shade over wood to really give them kind of a rotten effect. So there we go. We've just used contrast paints and a few metallics, and we've got stuff ready for the tabletop. I put a little bit of sterling mud on the base as well. But, you know, this didn't take very long at all. I've got 3 models which look great. So actually you can replicate this across all the models. If you were batch painting them 5 or 10 at a time, just choose the kind of group of paints you want and then go wild and paint them across all the miniatures. So I'm actually quite surprised how well these have come out, having used a broad range of brands of paints. So let's take them to Tabletop Plus next. Let's go there. And we're going to start off with that banner. So the first thing I'm going to do is base all of it using Kislev flesh, because I want it to look like some sort of really dried out flesh that they've stripped off some chaotic beast. And this is what they're using for their sigil. And once that's dry, I'm going to stipple flayed one flesh all over it, focusing really across those areas where I think I'm going to get the most light and the folds. And as I'm kind of talking through this, I'm realizing this is becoming more of the painting tutorial style of things, but really it's more just a collection of my thoughts. And the reason I'm spending time on the banner here is because it's really prominent, and people are going to see it. So it's worth spending that extra bit of time on it, because it's going to be probably the thing people see first. Once you finish with that, I'm then going to take some Reichland flesh shade and I'm going to stipple this over the banner as well. And I'm really going to focus this on the recesses. And again, this just adds a little bit of color. I'm then going to take some Berserker blood shade and do exactly the same thing, which is kind of more of a reddy, bloody color. And again, it's all about creating those blotches. Once that's dry, I'm going back in with the flayed one flesh and just stippling it to re-establish some of those highlights. Again, this makes it look like it's been let out to dry. There's stains all over it. It's seen combat. It just really, really adds to the effect. I'm then going to take a little bit of gloss varnish and paint this all over that banner, because I want to use a decal transfer, and I'm going for this this bird. And it seems that I've picked the wrong one. I picked one which is too too big for the banner, but that's no issue because you just pop it on there, having let it soak in some water, and then I'm just going to very carefully cut with my knife the edge of that, and I'll just tuck it around the back, and I might cut it off afterwards. I'll also then use a cotton bud or a Q-tip to soak up any water. When that's completely dry, I'm going to paint everything that I painted with the gloss varnish with some matte varnish. Now, it's important you don't cake this on or put it on too thickly, um, but this will just dull it down and stop it being shiny and just add to the overall aesthetic. When it comes to highlighting all the brass, I took some Canoptek alloy. Again, this is probably too bright to highlight for the brass, but we're only really going for Tabletop Plus here, so we don't need to step it up into 2 or 3 highlights. We'll just drag our brush across all those sharp edges to get that nice bright highlight. And similarly for all the silver, we'll take chrome from Vallejo Model Air. Now, if you haven't got chrome, something like Roomfang Steel from Citadel, again, is absolutely fine. It's just a really, really bright silver. So whichever brand you've got, that should be perfect for this. Again, we're looking to drag it across the sharp edges of the miniatures just to get a little bit of a popping highlight. Now, when it comes to the workflow across here, you can do it in whichever order you want. I do the metallics first because if I make a mistake, I know I can go in and tidy them up. Next up, I'm going to just go through the colours as they kind of appeal to me across the miniature. So I'm going to do all the bone areas next. And the colour I use for this is Screaming Skull. And again, this is a much brighter highlight than the colours we've already got on there, and that's fine. And what we're looking to do with this is just catch edges. We're looking to paint brows and ridges of things like the skulls that we've got across the models. Just take your time with this and add as little or as much as you want to. Now, obviously, you want to be tidy because this is the last highlight we're going to pop on there. But generally, you're just looking for the parts that are going to catch the most light and that are facing upwards. Moving on to that bright red, I decided to throw caution to the wind here and say, actually, he's a leader. He's having a bright red cloak. So what I did was thin down some Mephiston red and I painted this over the raised areas. And what I also noticed is that there's a very big, deep, blotchy part where the paint has dried too heavily in that recess. So what I did is I thinned down the Mephiston red a little bit more and just painted over it. Now what that's going to do is it's going to cover it, but because the Mephiston red is quite pigment rich, it's going to take away some of the harshness of that blotch. And then once you've done one coat, if you're feeling it a second, you can do that. And that just homogenizes all of the cloak area. Then I'm going to take a little bit of Evil Sun Scarlet and use this to just catch those most raised edges. So the leader is having a bright red cloak, folks, okay? That is something that we've decided and that's happening. But I think it helps him stand out as well. Now, you could probably guess here that essentially when it comes to highlighting, all I'm doing is picking a brighter colour than the one I've used. It's fairly easy and straightforward in terms of colour choices. Have a look at your darker colour and have a look at your paints and find one which is a little bit lighter. So for example, on this blue cloak, which I think I used Occultist Cloak from Army Painter as the base, I'm just going to use some rust grey from Citadel, but I'm going to stipple it. I'm not going to paint it in nice smooth layers like I did with the red. I'm just going to stipple this because it gives more of a rough fabric effect. And then I can pick another brighter colour again, just to really push it. So in this instance, I use Fenrisian Grey. Now, for some reason, when I was painting these miniatures, I decided that orange fur is a good idea. I think it was more a case of using a paint and thinking it was browner than it was. I think it was Saigo fur. And yeah, it just turned out orange. So that's fine. We'll roll with it. We'll just highlight it because it's going to be much easier to do that than it is to go back and try and rebase it. And to highlight it, I just, again, pick a lighter color. In this case, is Ungor Flesh. So I hope you're really starting to see how this kind of process comes together. It's not some arcane process where there's knowledge there that you need to, you need to kind of go and learn from people. It's a case of looking at your paints and saying, right, I think this one's going to work. I'm going to try it. Because if I'd got a couple of strokes into highlighting this and thought, you know what, this is the wrong color, I would have stopped and I'd have gone back and picked another color and tried that instead, So never be afraid of making mistakes because you can always, always, always paint over something. For highlighting the wood, I find Carrick Stone really good for this because it gives you a really nice bright highlight. And remember I said earlier that washes are good for wood as well. If you pop the Carrick Stone on it, it goes a little bit too bright. Then you can just stipple some Athonian Camo Shade across it as well to give it more of a greeny, rotten look. I didn't do it on these miniatures, but again, it's something that you can do. How do I know that? Well, it's just something I tried before and actually really liked the effect. And again, it's not a case of sitting there watching, oh, these are the colors I need. It's a case of, well, let me try this and see how it works out. Highlighting the black is always really interesting as well, because I really like Black Templar as a contrast paint, and it kind of gives you a nice highlight, but it's not enough here, I think, to help it pop. So if you want a nice neutral black color, such as the kind of thing that you get on clothing, then Ashen Grey is a really good first highlight for that. And then a little bit of Dawnstone in between it is also quite nice, because that gives you that bright black effect. If it's too bright, you can always give it a little bit of a wash with some Nuln Oil, or go back over it with some thin contrast paint just to get it to where you want it to be. I then took a brighter grey to highlight the kind of the grey fur and also any grey beards we've got. I just used administrative grey for this and took my time. What I did realise at this point was I was probably pushing myself to do this too fast, so the fur was starting to look a bit messy. So again, it was a case of taking some time and realising there's no rush with this. Just relax and calm down. And the last thing I wanted to do is just show you how to do some really nice frozen bases, because these guys are from the Frozen Wastes. So the first thing I did was give it all a wash with some Athonian camo shades. That kind of gives you a greeny colour. Remember, it's gone over some sterling mud, so it's kind of like a browny colour. If you haven't got that, then use whatever colour you've got. I really love Dark Earth from AK as a basing colour. I think it's fantastic. And then what I like to do for frozen ground is use snow sprinkles from AK and just pop these over the base. Now, it's important that that wash is dry, but paint them over the base very thinly. And what you'll see is when it dries, it just looks a little bit frosty, a little bit icy. If you haven't got this, you can use a mix of Stormcast or Storm Shield, which is like a gloss varnish, and a little bit of Valhalla Blizzard. Now, use very little Valhalla Blizzard, mix it all up, and then paint it over, and you'll get roughly the same effect. If you need to pop more snow in, then you can. And then once that's completely dry, I just took some Valhalla Blizzard and just popped some bits of snow across it. Now, I pushed this into the base, so it was very thin. I didn't want any snow drifts, but I did just want a different point of interest on the model. And there we go. We have gone from bare plastic to tabletop ready to tabletop plus in pretty much no time at all. Like I said, this wasn't so much of a tutorial, it's more of a process video showing you my thought process, how my brain works. And really, I want to encourage you to go away and try stuff. I don't need to watch this video and just try and follow it along. I want you to go away, pick colors that you like, and figure out what highlight colors go with them as well. So I really, really hope you enjoy this different style of video. This isn't necessarily something I'll do all the time. It is just something I thought I'd do as a one-off and see what kind of reception I get from it. So if you want more videos like this, let me know down in the comments. And obviously, don't forget to check out all of my other content here as well. Thank you so, so much for watching. I'll see you next time.